DBZ Kakarot. That's the first thing on our list right now.
Dude, that game looks like gold, pure gold.
It does.
It really
Now
does.
I'm gonna admit, I'm gonna be the first one to admit I'm not completely up to date on everything DBZ Kakarot. I'm a little bit behind on the news. I didn't see the latest trailer, but the last bit of information I saw, I think, was the whole Boo Saga bits that they released. And dude, everything I've seen on this game looks phenomenal. And this is coming from somebody, look, I love anime fighting games. I absolutely love anime fighting games. I, played the shit out of Storm 3, played all that stuff. Like Rage and Blast, Budokai 3, everything. So for a game to look this good that's Dragon Ball, that's not a pure fighter or like an arena fighter, I'm super excited because it looks like they're doing it right, because usually if you look at other anime titles like One Piece, they did World Seeker. Fuck World Seeker, right? So it's like they just didn't do it right. This game looks like they're doing it right, dude, and I'm so excited. Everything from the graphics to gameplay, it just looks phenomenal. That's just my quick thoughts on it. Before we get too in depth, I'll go ahead and pass it over to somebody else.
That trailer was super hype.
Oh yeah, you did see
I'm
the
not
trailer.
gonna lie.
Yeah, you did see it.
Yeah, the trailer was so good. It made me like literally think of like old school DBZ, like back in the day. That bruh, like
I'm
man,
about to watch it right now.
I literally no lie. It caught me in the feels. Like I was like, man, it felt like I was actually watching the beginning of the show of back in the day. I mean, it was like a 2-minute trailer, but I mean, I didn't care about the fighting styles in it. Like as of right now, I care less because of the cutscenes. The cutscenes, no lie, are winning me over more than anything right now because of what they're covering. But we've already had this little bit of a discussion about like if they don't finish it, I'm gonna be super mad. But they better, they better deliver, dude.
Finish what exactly? What just go in a little bit of detail as far as like what do you mean by finishing what exactly? Just to for the people in the chat and audience.
Yeah, well, basically what I mean is there's a lot of Dragon Ball Z games that only cover certain areas and certain parts of the story. All right, there's never been like a game that's like, oh yeah, let me start at DBZ and let's just bring it all the way to the Boo Saga and actually make it a complete story.
Right.
But no, there's been other games that have been utterly swept under the rug, and honestly I think if they do it with this, man, I might have to. I don't even care, man. I'll buy everything on that game. Like I'll straight up I'll invest my whole wallet into that game if it's legit like that.
Yeah, the game looks really nice. Go ahead, Van. Go ahead.
Oh no! Oh, it's cool. You can finish if you want.
No, because I'm gonna go in a little bit more detail in a little bit, so you can go ahead and get your thoughts out.
All right, got you. So I'm gonna piggyback off of what Fez was saying. That's why I kind of like jumped in real quick. So, yeah, that is a very important thing. Like, how much are they gonna cover? And you know how a lot of people is complaining about, oh, but it's the same thing, but it hasn't been done quite like this. Very impressive. My only concern at this point, but especially me being highly judgmental of like anime games as a whole, because like there have been a lot of instances when it comes to games like these where it's always half-assed, if I say so myself.
That's true.
Especially in terms of the way Namco Bandai handles DLC, pressures developers to say, hey, we got to have either some kind of DLC or season pass, especially when looking at World Seeker. And I feel like that's one of the bigger reasons why World Seeker did as bad as it did. I feel like World Seeker would have done better if they would have just had the characters already in the game instead of just saving them as DLC like that. It's like almost like a move to save face, but not save face. It's like they planned this from the start. to try to extend the life of the game by like throwing it up and hoping that they get more revenue from that. But once again, it's like if a story game, especially a game that's more about story, and you don't have that content to really back it up from the start, and then you fail to add DL, like let's say they just make the game, right? And they leave stuff out intentionally and save it for later. But that's the problem with a single player game. You can't do that because you want to have as much content as you can so people will really feel invested in the game. And so if you leave it out right at the start and then just throw it in everybody's faces, that's just gonna make the matter worse. So like my hope is that that's not gonna happen with Kakarot. And honestly, I feel like that's not going to happen, especially based on what I've seen from the trailer, some of the gameplay elements that I've seen. They made the smart choice by saying that this game is not going to be that type of game where only Goku is playable. And I feel like that was huge for them.
Yeah, you brought up a good point as far as like you just said, Goku not being the only playable character and just playing throughout the game. That's a good addition to Kakarot and brings a little bit of just a different pace and change of things that we used to when playing this game. So it's gonna be nice to add in, and I think depending on some of the interactions too. I remember seeing or dealing with like one of the trailers or whatnot early on with Kakarot. You get like different interactions from or references from Dragon Ball, the original Dragon Ball anime, which is nice. But one thing that kind of scares me if we're going to go ahead and get into some of the skepticisms and such, Dino can attest to this. We talk about this for days on end. Is just the fact that it's only covering up to the Boo arc, and it feel like it's been done so much. You can really add on to the game throughout the content of anime, because you have you have arcs like GT, you have Super you can add on and stuff like that hasn't really been done yet per se. And only going from from the 4 arcs that we mainly know, it can get pretty dull, and I can see why people are not really gonna worry about this game as much, no matter how clean it looks or how good it looks or it might play. Just the story alone can it can stir people away just because of it's stuff that we already know. So it's one of my skepticisms.
Right. So one of the things that you mentioned too is it's only to the Boo arc, and there's just so much to Dragon Ball. There's the movies, there's GT, Super, all that. I mean, they did that partially in the past with 10K ET3. They did a really good job with that in terms of all the characters and stuff. They did a lot in that game in terms of that. Obviously the gameplay though wasn't crazy good, but I mean, either or, there was a huge roster for it, and it showed more appreciation for almost a ton of characters. It's 150 character roster. So I don't know. I mean, the story, that's cool. It looks fresh, DBZ Kakarot from the trailers, because they put out multiple trailers for this thing. It looks really, really good. It's just the thing is it's ending at the Boo arc, it looks like, because they didn't show us anything outside of that.
Right.
Anything Janemba or something. So I don't know. There's no thing that's saying, hey, we're adding more than just what you guys are thinking right now. But it seems like that's the extent.
Here's the thing, it's a Dragon Ball game. They're not gonna skip off on DLC for something as big as Dragon Ball.
And it's Bandai. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's Bandai straight up, and they're doing that with story games, as we can see with World Seeker. They're still adding story content to World Seeker, which blows my mind. So without a doubt, they will be adding to this game. It's so huge that
you think they'll update it?
I think they'll put out some paid content for sure. Like Dragon Ball is their most selling game right now, or their franchise or whatever under Bandai. That IP makes them so much money, and they're definitely gonna put out DLC. And to be honest with you, dude, glorious as this game looks, I will forever say that a game like this, but with Dragon Ball content, would be my ideal freaking Dragon Ball game, dude. Like, as much as I want like GT or Super in this game, if they add like anything Dragon Ball related into this game, like apart from just the NPCs that you talk to, like I will die. I will be happy forever. But no, for sure, they're definitely going to add more to this game. I mean, there's enough already. Don't get me wrong. This game's going to be amazing to play through, but without a doubt, they're going to be adding more, especially with all the super content that they have to work with and stuff like that. They're not going to miss out on this chance to rob our wallets. It's Bandai. let's be honest.
I mean, in the past, like I have some other games too. I think it was called Super Dragon Ball or something, but they stopped at like Cell.
Wow.
Right.
It was like some mini game. Like it wasn't a main game.
Oh,
It was like kind of those side games. It was Dragon Ball.
Right.
You know, so
I think I remember that. Wasn't it on PS2?
yeah,
Yeah.
It was really
Or Infinite World or something like that.
well, Infinite World is actually a little bit more than that. But this other
Yeah.
thing, like literally, like you know how Dragon Ball Fighters has those lobby characters?
Yep.
There was literally a game that was just like that, like a game, like them fighting that looks like that.
Wait, was
like-
it for the PS1?
No, it definitely was for the PS2.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to look up the name.
Isn't that like is that the one that you
I know.
can actually play at the arcade? Because I remember seeing something like that.
I feel like I know the one Fast talking about.
It's called Super Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah,
that's the one you can
Super
play at
Dragon
the
Ball Z. Yeah,
arcade.
that thing had like no characters whatsoever.
They have very few.
None.
Super Dragon
Now,
Ball
one
Z.
thing that I will add about the whole DLC thing, I feel like based on what they do have, at least it goes all the way up to the Boo arc. And if they include the majority of everything that happened in those arcs, if they do include DLC, I feel like it would be actually good DLC. Kind of like how, because like my opinion about DLC is that if they do it the right way, you know, there would be no problems. Kind of like look back at, you know, Dragon Ball Fighters, right? And the way they've been handling DLC. I feel like in some points it was kind of meh, especially with the including freaking base form Goku and Vegeta. I just found that kind of stupid.
Yeah.
But other than that, all of the other DLC that they did include, that was actually smart, especially the super ones, like bringing those together. They even went as far as extending Xenoverse 2 using the super characters. So if they was to do something like a super arc or something like that, that would actually be really good for Dragon Ball Z, you know, the Dragon Ball Kakarot game. I feel like that would really be perfect for this game in terms of DLC, because you can do it a good way, you can do it a bad way. Now I'll tell you this. Now if they stopped at the Cell Saga, and then you're not getting that much content, and then everything else is DLC, okay, that's freaking bad. Because if you look at all the majority of the Dragon Ball games, they usually, for the most part, really stop at the Boo arc, and maybe they'll give you a few side missions for like movie characters and stuff like that, kind of like with Dragon Ball Budokai 3 with the inclusion of Broly and Cooler and all of that.
Well, I think like because the whole thing for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is you play as the hero. So, and they have all the core heroes from what I've seen,
Right.
playable and swappable for, you know, supports and stuff like that through the story, from the Cell Saga to the Boo Saga. To me, that right there is a complete Dragon Ball game. And anything else, I'm fine. Like I'm fine with Cell Arc through, or not Cell Arc, sorry, Saiyan Arc through Boo Arc. That to me, as long as that's there and not DLC, whatever they release is good. All I need for DLC, if they want to release it, is obviously some dialogue, possibly some cutscenes, give us an enemy to fight for like a boss, and then give us a new playable character for that. Like, so if they do like a Brawly DLC, right? Give us Brawly as a villain to fight, give us some dialogue, and then give us Gogeta, right?
Okay.
Like, you know, something like that. Like, they don't have to go super in depth. Just give us that extra bit of content, and don't overly price us, even though it's Bandai. You never know. But you know what I mean? Just give us little things like that that would push us. I mean, obviously, the community shouldn't be asking for playable villains in this game. If they are, they're stupid. No offense to anybody out there, but this is a hero game. This is a hero game.
You're right.
So, you know, let's focus on the heroes here. And really, they could do so much, man. Like, if they wanted to add movies as well as Super, they could even go the route as adding Janemba and Brawly in the same pack if they wanted to, and then just give us Gogeta.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because-
that is a pretty interesting idea. I just me personally, being I've been a DBZ fan since, you know, like the mid 90s, you know, type deal. I feel old.
Dude,
So, yeah, trust me, you weren't even born when I was watching this crap on TV, you know what I mean? And it looks, and on the real, like back then, like the story was so good that they just kept rerunning it.
dude, like,
Don't know that, but I mean, as somebody that actually watched the show and knows the story, all right, they better have everything if they're talking about Kakarot, okay? Because he officially, ends himself at Cell, right? But he still has an impact during the Boo Saga. So it has to cover everything that he does, which will be certain events. And if those are not free, I swear to God, we are in almost 2020. They should have gotten this right by now, all right? If I want to play the game, let me play the whole fucking game, all right? I don't want to play just part of it. I want to play the whole fucking game. All right, it's my game. I paid the $60 for it. Let me play the whole game. I shouldn't have to pay for
Let's
it.
just hope it's not Jump Force.
Please, God,
oh,
not
no,
Jump Force.
Dude, don't mention Jump Force. What?
I don't think it's gonna be that bad though. It's definitely not
Better
gonna be.
not.
It's definitely not gonna be Jump Force
I'm a
tier.
jumper.
Like,
if you've guys read the title of the stream, we're not on that topic yet, but just imagine Jump Force being the Nick Cannon of anime games.
Well, it's over.
like just,
It'll be
just
like,
imagine that,
like,
dude.
what's that game?
Like, that game will probably, like, dude, more people talk about J Stars than they do Jump Force
That's pretty.
now, and Jump Force is new, and that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, J Stars was pretty decent and fun for its time. It was never a game to be taken seriously, but when they took Jump Force and they're like, let's try to turn that into something. I mean, sorry, J Stars, and then Jump Force is just trash. I don't even want to talk about that.
That's a
Oh,
topic for another day.
Dude, that
When I
game
went-
hurts my feelings. Like
on the real, it looked okay, like at first glance because they had like little, little spots for it at PAX, right? And it didn't come out yet, but like seeing the people that were playing it, yeah, people were playing it at first. So I guess your impression was, man, that they wanted that game when it came out, or was about to come out, you know? I didn't like it because I don't like the fighting style. I think it's just nah.
I mean, I'll go ahead and say this. Like, playing with an open beta, it looked like it had some type of promise. And I was like, okay, because I played open beta, or a closed beta, closed beta. And I was like, okay, this game has promise. This might, it might do a little something. Come around the open beta, have all these issues. I was like, all right, this about to be a flop. And from then on in, it's been just that. It's been jump flop. So
Yeah,
glad I missed
they
out on that.
fucked it up. It's just, they
And
just slap shit together like a
Yeah.
freaking $1 cheeseburger.
And yeah, and seriously, like they weren't thinking about it in like a broader range either, because like they can literally make this game and then make a VR version, so you're actually Kakarot doing this shit to, the next motherfucker that fucks with you on the street. You can be Kakarot for a second like that,
Right.
Dude, I'm telling you, they better not screw us on DLC for this game. Like, so far, I haven't seen anything that's missing, right? But like, if something is missing that should not be missing in Kakarot, that's DLC. That's dead ass like McDonald's charging extra for pickles. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, you want you want pickles and mustard on your burger? That'll be $10 more, please. It's like that should have been on the fucking burger to begin with, bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, come on, you know, it's one of those things. I feel like they're actually giving us a good game with this one, but see, I've thought that so many times, so my hopes are not high.
Right.
As a Bandai Namco fan for years, I threw up a little bit saying that. Sorry. You know, as an anime fan and stuff like that, I have come to the conclusion that you can never get your hypes and hopes up for an anime title from Bandai Namco. As much as I have enjoyed games from Bandai Namco, don't get me wrong, but that is only after I've put my salt in the wounds and just taken a deep breath and enjoyed it for what it is, not what it should be.
Right.
And that's just one of those things. So, if this game comes out and it actually is as good as it looks, then I will be one happy camper. I
mean,
will be.
Dragon Ball Fighters is okay.
Yeah.
Fighters, okay. Fighters is different. The only reason that I don't complain on how dirty they did Fighters is because it's a real fighting game. That's
Right.
the only reason, because they did it dirty with the DLC, with half the DLC.
Like the base forms.
Yeah, so like they did us dirty with the characters on there. The only reason I'm not mad is because they all play differently, and they're not just, you know, characters, and they're actually worth the money regardless of what they are. They all play their own way, so I'm not mad about that. But if this was a game like Xenoverse, sorry, if this was a game like Xenoverse and they put base form Goku as DLC, dude, I would have flipped my shit.
Yeah, that
I
would be bad.
Dude, base form GT Goku as DLC, I would have flipped my shit. But you know, that's besides the point. Fighters is its own thing because I think it's crossed over to the line of competitive, and I think Fighters is a great game. It's not your average anime game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of anime people
I count
drop
Fighters
that
as
game
its
like a
own
bad
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, I'm sorry, but every time we mention Bandai Namco, I'm gonna have to just, if you guys are watching Bandai Namco, just remember you screwed me over. I would not let you forget.
Oh,
I will never get to.
I will not forget this.
Man, what in the world?
man took a mean shot with a
Dude.
double barrel.
Dude,
You hear that now, bro?
dude, I'm gonna be completely honest. I love Bandai. I have a love and hate relationship with Bandai. I buy a lot of Bandai's games. I've played and covered a lot of Bandai's games. I enjoy a lot of Bandai's games, but I'm not blind to Bandai's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah. Yeah, you ever buy their action figures, man? You ever buy their figures?
dude, I will be the first. I will be the first one to come out and say I don't hop on trains, you know what I'm saying? Like if a game's really good and everybody's, riding it and, saying, oh, it's great, but I think it's shit, I'm gonna say it's shit. If everybody's hating on something I think is good, I'm gonna let you know I think it's good. And that's just how I am with games, man. And I will be the first to let y'all know whether or not I think Fighters is worth the 60 bones. Shout out to the gamer 2323.
Yo.
But
Can we get
it's
that
like
lawnmower laugh?
I can't do it. But you know what I'm saying? So I really hope this game is as appealing and fun as it looks, dude, because they're doing a really great job with marketing. They're doing a really great job with how they're piecing the trailers together, and the art looks amazing. The animation on it looks amazing. Just the characters, everything looks great. All I'm saying is I hope that the gift is as good as the packaging.
Yeah, I just wish for this longevity. Like at this point, DLC is fine. Like personally, I would hope have everything and the additional stuff in there day one. But I can really understand with like some stuff. It's dealing with games nowadays is like really strict deadlines and such. So you got to put that into an account. So at least just with DLC, like good DLC to keep the game going would be nice. I just want longevity with this game. I'm not trying to have like a quick cash scheme type thing with this game, because it has a lot of promise with this. So
Right.
Only thing I really just wish is longevity, some type of way, because everything else is fine. I'm just worried about the longevity part of it. So,
Like, I know this is completely different from Kakarot, but it's like I'm gonna kind of treat it the same way. So you got Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. That game is magnificent. It's a story-based game like Kakarot is, but once you get to the end, apparently they don't have DLC plans for it. I played it through one time. That's just what I've heard. I played it through one time. It was a great experience. Dude, I haven't opened the game back up. And I really want this game to be something that I can play it through. I can grind, my character up, have fun, but also I want it to be something I can come back. When you have a game this, graphically pleasing and well done, you want to be able to come back to it. And it's like, even if it's not something that you can play for a year round, it's not one of those types of games, you just hope that if they give you a good base game for once, that they continue. It's like, it's like sometimes when you don't think you want DLC for a game, you just want them to work on the next thing, they overload you with DLC. But when you actually want it, they're like, like, they better do something good, man.
I mean, speaking of like the DLC type deal, like they should have just the whole game. And if there's like the spin-offs, every movie, no lie, is criterially, like in theory, a spin-off of the series, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's its own separate thing. So I'd be like, yeah, I could add like a 3-movie thing in there for $6.99 or $7.99 type deal for a DLC type thing. Yeah, I'd understand that. Or adding the GT saga, for $15 or something like that, or super add-on type deal. Because I mean, to be honest with you, Super has nothing to do with what happened in Z. Like, I'll be honest with you.
Right? No, yeah, that would just be like,
and
that would
and
just
for,
be like dope content.
And for all of the people that don't know and understand the old folklore on it, Goku actually died in GT. Okay, and if you guys look at the last movie that was in GT, all right, Goku wasn't around. It was Goku's grandson or something like that. It was Pan's grandson. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, and it was like 100 years after the whole fact of the matter of everything that happened. So in theory, Goku died right there. So everything you're seeing in Super and everything after that is kind of like, oh yeah, they can do whatever they want. I know where the story is, and it's with Kakarot.
Kakarot. Dino, what about you? Any final thoughts on that?
No, I mean, we'll just see how the game is.
Right.
So, what we can say.
comes out January 17th, by the way, for those who are looking out for it. So be prepared for that.